Hello, good evening, everyone. Yes, tonight we are going to continue the legal hour program, as I've already said in the intro. We are going to have a topic under the immigration law, and we'll be looking specifically at the British Nationality Act 1981. We'll be looking at circumstances under which someone's British citizenship can be revoked. And then we'll also look at what they call nullification and mistakes. And then we'll also look at the human right, on what basis people can defend those revocation cases based on their human right. And then the fourth point, I'll also look at this clause 9, which is all over the place, and what it actually means. So I want to entreat all of you to invite your friends, your family members, to join me tonight to discuss such an interesting topic. As most of you will be aware, we do different areas of law on this platform. We are here on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 8:30 onwards. On Tuesdays, for those of you who have joined us for the first time, we do the English version of the topic. And then on Thursday, we do it in Twi. And obviously on Thursdays, MC Chaka always hosts the program. Tonight, I'll be doing this program alone. And I want to urge you watching me tonight, to invite your friends and family members. Now, this program can be watched. You can watch this program on our YouTube channel, Citilaw Solicitors. You can watch this program, obviously, on Facebook, City Media TV. You can also listen to this program on City Media Radio. So if you are working, you could still listen to the radio if your work policy does not permit you to watch on screen. So you have no excuse not to watch or listen to this program, or no excuse to miss this program. Such an educative and insightful program tonight. But before I'll go into that, I'll obviously give a short update of the EU settlement scheme. Because obviously, since I'm doing immigration tonight, it's important that I give some update on the EU settlement scheme. And then I delve straight into the main topic, which you can see on the screen: revocation of British citizenship or passport. Clause 9, and your human right. So, without wasting my time, I'm going to allow viewers to share the link to invite their friends and family. And I'm going to make this program very, very interactive tonight. So obviously I'm going to give out the phone line so that people can phone in if they have questions. This is free legal hour. It's an opportunity for you to get free legal advice. So viewers, I'm urging you to make sure that you kindly share the link to invite your friends and family, and let them be aware that Citilaw Solicitors, we are here live tonight discussing your favorite topic, British Nationality Act. And obviously also giving update of the EU law. Well, you might think that EU law is still extinct, but as I said in December, the Secretary of State has already confirmed that the settlement scheme will be there indefinitely. Therefore, we still have to discuss it. We have to talk about it because people have pending applications and they want to know their fate. So I'm going to give a short update and then I'll go into my main topic. So I'm urging you, please share these videos or the link so that your friends and family can equally benefit from it. I'm going to allow people just about 2 minutes before come back to the studio and move swiftly into the topic. Please, bear with me. I'm giving people opportunity to share the link within the next 2 minutes, and then I'll be back to start the whole show. And as I've said, I'm going to make it very interactive, so don't go away. Hello, welcome back. It's been always a privilege to be interacting with you from this studio. To start with, I want to thank all of you for always being present to work this legal hour. Proudly brought to you by Citilaw Solicitors, your one-stop law firm, where you can have all your legal problems resolved. For those of you who have been following us for some time now, obviously, you know we had employment law discrimination. We had it 2 weeks ago, and it was quite interesting. We took our time to explain to people their rights under the Equality Act in terms of claiming for discrimination under their sex, their disability, their race, religious and ethnic belief, and their sexual orientation. So it was quite interesting, and obviously most of you have realized that some of your dismissals have been no other reason than because of discrimination. So it's interesting that most of you are bringing out your cases for us to look into it. And I want to thank you all for watching the program and always coming out with the problems. This is why we do this program. And that's why I am urging you to share, because if you don't have that problem, somebody else has that problem. And that somebody somewhere needs that help so badly. Don't deprive him of that legal assistance by not sharing this video with your friends and family. And for those of you who watched us last week with Rebecca from the Financial Ombudsman, you notice that obviously some of you are quite rightly entitled to some claims. Some of you, the bank have not treated you fairly. Some of you have had adverse credit report registered on your credit files affecting your rating. So we are gradually getting people to come to know that they have a right under those claims. And obviously, I'm happy that most of you are becoming aware, which means that Citilaw solicitors, we are actually fulfilling our corporate social responsibility to the public. Tonight, I'm going to have a very interesting topic. I'm going to look at the British Nationality Act. And obviously, those of you who have been following us, you know that on this platform, I give detailed advice. So it's a pleasure having you on board tonight, obviously. Now, but before I go into my main topic, I want to just give a short update of the current statistics under the EU settlement scheme. Now, it will surprise most of you that when this EU settlement scheme started, it was quite easy for people to make applications, and almost about 99% of the applications were all granted. Now, the current statistics released in January, end of January, suggests that about 34% of applications cumulatively either have been refused or rendered invalid or withdrawn. So it shows that most of these EU settlement scheme applications are now being refused. But I want to tell you that some of those refusals obviously are not in accordance with the law and the Secretary of State's own guidance. And that's why I always urge people to seek legal advice. And for those of you who have approached us, there are various ways we've managed to assist you, and I'm sure most of you will testify to what we are saying on this platform. And for those of you who are quite apprehensive, again, it is also stated in those data or that statistics that we have about 315,000 applications currently pending. And it will take up to about 24 months to clear the backlog. So most of you who are quite apprehensive, you need to be patient, because those applications obviously might take a bit longer than anticipated or expected. And if for whatever reason you have had any of these applications refused, I want to advise that you are entitled to reapplication, or you are entitled to an appeal or administrative review. And of course, there are a lot of lawyers out there who are equally competent and are willing and able to assist most of you. But for whatever reason, you don't have anybody to assist you. Citilaw solicitors, we are here to contribute our own quota to that support. And quite rightly so. But as I've said, this is the update that I can give to viewers and listeners, especially those on the City Media Radio. Thank you so much for tuning into the City Media Radio and making this radio one of the best so far in terms of providing legal advice to the public. But having said that, may you permit me to then look at my main topic tonight. And as I've said that tonight's program is going to be very, very interactive. If somebody can help me to put the phone lines for, I wish I could have put it on the screen, but if for whatever reason you want to phone in to participate in this program, I'm sure somebody will assist me to put it in the comment section. But if for whatever reason you want to call either from abroad, please don't hesitate to ask me any legal question. If I have the competency and the knowledge, I will assist you, even though I'm talking about migration tonight. Obviously, with immense knowledge in different areas of law, I'm able to assist a lot of people who are going to partake in this interactive topic. So if you want to phone in tonight for tonight's program only, our office number and contact details, as you can see, is scrolling on the screen, so you can take it. But to phone in to partake in this program only, you can call, for those of you who may want to call on WhatsApp to ask about this care workers scheme and all that, you can ask at 00442 this number, 0044. You can save the number on your WhatsApp, you can call it, and we'll be able to answer. If you want to partake from the UK, it's 079 3293 4518. 079 3293 4518. If somebody can assist me to put this number in the comment section. Then we also have another number, also for this studio, 074 40 33 8623. 074 40 33 8623. So whilst I'm doing this program, if anything comes to mind and you want to ask me a question, don't hesitate to ask that question, because I'm here to provide free legal advice tonight. I must also say that under our disclaimer from Citilaw Solicitors, any advice we give here on this platform is for guidance only. And therefore, if for whatever reason you want to rely on it, you are right to do so, but we will urge you to seek proper legal advice on anything that has been discussed on this platform. And if you don't have any lawyer, as I've always been welcoming the public, you can come to Citilaw Solicitors. Our office is in Barking. Having given prelude to my discussion tonight, may I now go to the main topic, revocation of British citizenship or passport and human rights, and clause 9 of the Nationality and Borders Bill. It's immense circulation. People have been asking a lot of questions about it. I'm going to take my time to explain to people what that means, obviously. Now, somebody will ask that when a British passport, when someone has made application to apply to either register as a child or to naturalize as an adult to become a British, and having attained British citizenship, and obviously, ultimate goal, having successfully applied for British passport. So you may either have it by right of abode, or for example, somebody even born in the UK and by descent or otherwise by descent has become a British, or even those born abroad, if any of the parents was British at the time the child was born, and depending on the period, because the British Nationality Act has changed over time. So depending on the period that person was born abroad, then obviously that person might also be automatic British. But I'm not here to go into the process of attaining British citizenship or becoming a British and holding a British passport. I am here to look at having obtained a British passport, under what circumstances can that passport be taken away from you, be revoked, or under what circumstances can your citizenship be deprived of, or the deprivation of your British citizenship under the British Nationality Act. That is my topic for tonight. Now, the first question to ask is, under what circumstances can someone's passport or British citizenship be revoked? Now, quite clearly, if you look at the British Nationality Act under Section 40, there are provisions for revoking one's passport or British citizenship. And those provisions are quite clear. There are three specific things that may happen, and if they do, the Secretary of State, by statute or by law, is entitled to give notice of decision. Notice of decision to revoke that person's British citizenship, which in this case means that revoking one's British passport. So let's look at those three things that can happen. The first one is fraud. And the definition of fraud is quite wide. So when there is fraud, then the Secretary of State can claim that because of this fraud, which is serious in nature, I am revoking your British citizenship. The second point, when there is false representation, by false representation, I mean that if, for example, you give some information that were false, and people should listen carefully, that you relied on that false information to your advantage, and consequently, you were issued British citizenship and got a British passport. So, straight away, the moment I said that false representation relied upon to your advantage, then I'm sure those of you who are quite smart and following me will know that two things straight away comes to mind. Means that one, there could be a false representation, but you might not have relied on that false representation to your advantage in attainment of your British citizenship. Therefore, again, the final thing that comes to mind that when there is revocation of British citizenship or passport, wherein Secretary of State relies on false presentation, then that can be looked into and questioned and challenged. And the third point under section 40 is concealment of material facts. So when there is a concealment of material fact, again, this could be to your advantage. It means that by concealing those material facts and not disclosing them in your application, if it's later discovered, then the Secretary of State can rely on it to revoke that person's British citizenship or passport. And therefore, for these three things having been just explained here, it means that most of us, may one reason or the other, straight away, we start to question whether or not there could be grounds if any of us have had any of this notice. But that also means that whenever we are making these applications, there is a need for us to be extra vigilant and circumspect, because either the information we give today or the information we fail to disclose today, or acts or conduct displayed in future may result in our British citizenship being revoked. Now, having said this, somebody will be asking that if somebody obviously have naturalized, because there are so many ways of people getting their citizenship. Some either because they were born here, some either because even if they were born abroad and obtained their British citizenship or passport by descent, or they registered as children and have lived here for a long time. So you say that when I talk about fraud, you realize that in this case, it's an offense that has been committed. So it is not related to concealment of fact, which results in you making your application, or false representation, which is something that occurs when you're making your application. So for every one of us, including those born here, are now susceptible to their citizenship being revoked because of the wide nature of this provision under Section 40. But tonight, I am taking it slowly because I don't want to confuse viewers and listeners. But I want viewers and listeners to take keen notice of every single thing that I'm discussing here, because it's quite important. So having explained the revocation and having obviously given grounds under which this revocation can occur, what then is nullification of British citizenship or passport? Now, the distinction between the two, one, I should say right from the onset, when someone's passport or British citizenship is being revoked, that person straight away is entitled to appeal. And that appeal is what they call full merit hearing. And when we say full merit hearing, I will take my time to explain these terminologies gradually. But in contrast to nullity or nullification of British citizenship, there is no right of appeal. So people could only be entitled to either administrative review or judicial review. I'm going deep into law tonight, and I'm sure that I'm taking it slowly that people can understand. Having said this, then under what circumstances can one British citizenship be nullified or passport be nullified? And of course, I have had clients I'm still dealing with who have had their passport nullified. So it is not uncommon. We have had clients who have had their British citizenship being revoked. It is not uncommon. But it's important that people understand the distinction between the two. And here I say, when there is revocation of British citizenship, obviously, before that revocation of British citizenship would have occurred, that person might have given birth to children. And those children, by default, might have become British citizens by virtue of that parent being a British. Or that person might have been married, and by virtue of the other person being a spouse to this particular individual whose British citizenship is subject to revocation or having been revoked, may have also become British as a result of that particular individual. So the question is, what happens to that person when there is deprivation of British citizenship, the family members, children and wife? I am taking my time to draw the distinction between nullification and revocation. Now, why is under deprivation or revocation of British citizenship, those families have their passports or citizenship intact, untouchable by law. When one's passport or British citizenship is nullified, it affects the family members, including children who have become British by default of that parent being a British, which means that those children passport can equally be nullified. And I'm choosing my words carefully not to conflate nullification and revocation because they are quite distinct by law. So if one's passport is revoked, family members who have benefited from that passport maintain their citizenship, including wife and children. If one passport is nullified or citizenship is nullified, the family members, children and wife who have benefited from it are at risk of their own citizenship being revoked or being nullified or cancelled. So in this case, what will cause nullification of British citizenship. It occurs normally when someone, for example, have made application in another person's identity. Maybe you are in Ghana, everybody knows you as Kujo Owusu. For one reason or the other, you have obtained citizenship in another identity. And therefore, the Secretary of State case under these circumstances is not in statute, but it's on the basis that that identity is not yours. And I've had cases that I'm dealing with. So, cases where two people will be claiming the same identity of that person's citizenship. Then the other person's own can be nullified. And there is no right of appeal. So viewers, this is the distinction between the two. I am taking my time because there is so much involved here that I have to make sure that people clearly understand it, so that I don't make people confuse people. So if you have just joined us tonight, I am taking my time obviously to explain how someone's citizenship can be revoked or be nullified. And for those of you who have just joined us, I've taken my time to obviously explain how that can happen. And having said that, I'm also taking my time to also explain how someone's citizenship can be nullified. And I have some few people watching tonight. I have Prince Aka. Aka, thank you so much for coming on board. I have Fred Asare. Also, good evening, sir. I have Ernest Nakakari, who is always present. I have Eno Frimpong watching. So thank you all for watching. Guys, if you come on the platform, I urge you to share the video, because it will slightly switch the platform that we used to broadcast this program on. So a lot of people are missing out. So I'm urging you to continue to share the links so that people can also benefit. But having said this, having explained the two, I'll then take my time. And for those of you who are watching tonight, don't forget that the same thing that I am doing tonight, I also take my time to explain it in Chi with Chaka on Thursday. So we are going to have the opportunity to translate everything in Chi. Well, I want to thank all of you who are presently watching, and I urge you to share the link so that other people can also benefit. Now, so I have taken my time to explain what it means by revocation of the British citizenship. I have also explained what it means for one's citizenship to be nullified, what they call nullification. I've explained whether deprivation of citizenship entitles one to appeal, which is full merit hearing, and whereas nullification does not entitle that person to right of appeal, however, right to administrative review and judicial review. And whilst revocation does not affect children and spouse who have benefited from that person's citizenship. So if your husband or wife had problem with their citizenship and is revoked, the other person, either the wife or husband, is not affected, and the children don't also get affected. If it's nullified, then it's more likely that the wife and the children, or the husband and the children, are at risk that theirs can also be nullified. So we are talking about very serious stuff here tonight. And I'm doing this because there has been a lot of news going around. So it is not everybody's citizenship which is going to be revoked or nullified. And I'm building a case so that gradually I can explain this clause 9, which is terrifying people. because we need to give proper interpretation of this clause 9 so that people don't get terrified. The clause 9, as I will slowly explain, does not affect the substantive grounds of revoking or nullifying. It only affects notice. But I will take my time to explain this in detail. So, having explained these two, the grounds for revocation, somebody will say that, well, if I'm born here and I'm a British, is there a chance? Because what I explain under deprivation or revocation, I explain concealment of material fact, false representation, and I also explain fraud. So somebody will ask, for those of us who probably have made application to naturalize, they will say that, well, concealment of material fact, which is if you have criminal conviction and you don't disclose it, that is concealment of material fact. Because perhaps if you have given that material fact, you will not have been granted the citizenship certificate. Or if you perhaps didn't give false representation and say that you are who you are not, then they will probably will not have granted you, or some information that misled the Secretary of State to grant that. But what about those who were born here as British? Again, from 2014, if you look at the Section 40, which has been amended, if that person will not become stateless, then that person can also have their citizenship being revoked when fraud is committed. And fraud, there is definition under the case of Ahmed, where Ross Jail, the Pakistans, and all those guys using young girls for sexual exploitation and prostitution. They were considered to have committed serious fraud. Therefore, their citizenship or their British passport should be revoked on that basis. And then if you also look at when there is terrorist attack those who are involved, even if they are born here, that is also a serious offense that could also result on those people's citizenship being revoked if they will not become stateless. So if somebody has committed a serious offense, he will not become stateless, then that person can have their British passport being revoked. So, having said this, I think it's important that having said the basis of 1, what is nullification of citizenship, 2, what is revocation of British citizenship, and 3, having explained what it entails in terms of its effect on family members, children, wives, or spouses. We now have to look at the process or the procedure the Secretary of State needs to follow to revoke one's British citizenship. Now again, under Section 40, subsection 5, that person is entitled to notice. So the Secretary of State perhaps give notice if there is concealment of fact. They will give notice that we are intending to revoke your British passport because we believe that when you made this application, you concealed these facts. You had criminal convictions, you didn't disclose it, And if you did, probably wouldn't have given it to you. And then you be given opportunity to give a response. And eventually the Secretary of State makes a decision and say that, look, this response is rejected. And then eventually the citizenship or passport is then revoked. And when it's finally revoked, that person has a right to appeal that decision. And if that person then appeals that decision, this goes into what they call full merit hearing. But obviously, it has been established by case law that once the citizenship is revoked, one will ask, what happens to my indefinite leave to remain? Yes, if the citizenship is revoked, automatically your indefinite leave to remain is also cancelled. So, having said this, I know this is a bit technical, but I'm taking my time slowly. So you will notice why when there is that decision to revoke, they give that person right to appeal. And that appeal goes into what they call full merit hearing. Now remember the topic, I said your human right. So when it goes into the full merit hearing, it means that everything will be considered in totality. Again, you might have given an information, false information, but you probably have not relied on that information to your advantage. And therefore, because you have not relied on that information to your advantage, though false information probably would have given, in the full merit hearing, probably might not be proper to, again, revoke your British passport. Now, there is a case law where someone obviously claimed asylum. The asylum was rejected because it was claimed by telling lies. And eventually, that person had discretionary leave and then eventually had indefinite leave to remain, applied for British passport. And the Secretary of State then sought to revoke that person's citizenship because of the lies concerning the initial asylum claim. But the Secretary of State case was rejected on the basis that by applying for the citizenship, that person have not relied on the lies in the asylum claim to his advantage because he has not in any way benefited from those lies in getting the indefinite leave to remain. And these are quite technical stuff. So it's important that sometimes we give people understanding, basic understanding. So if anybody is having any of these problems, of course, Secretary of State always make these decisions. And they are always challenged. But of course, it's becoming quite common these days. Again, people could also sometimes rely on their human right in terms of these children that have been born here. I've already said that once somebody's citizenship is revoked, it affects the children and then the spouse. So in a full merit hearing, you could, even if false information has been given, you could also rely on your family life to these children and your spouse to challenge the revocation, because these children and wives are also going to be affected one way or the other. So there is the British Nationality Act revoking your citizenship, and there is that Article 8 right, human right, protecting that citizenship which is being revoked by either concealment of material facts or false representation. So, having taken my time slowly to explain all these legal jargon, which I'm sure most of you are getting bored, what am I seeking to explain to viewers here? Clause 9. What is Clause 9? Now, under the Nationality and Borders Act, the Clause 9, which is being introduced, is seeking the Secretary of State. Now, it's important that I also give the case of RG4, which is the most recent case in January, and to give the background of this case, and which is why we have all this Clause 9 going around. It's important. Now, there is somebody who normally, when people's citizenship are revoked and it goes into full merit hearing, there are two ways of doing the hearing, especially when there is fraud. Then it goes into the Special Asylum Immigration Council, where those hearings are held in private and the facts are not disclosed to the public. And there are those who are also held open. So depending on the nature of ground the Secretary of State is relying on to revoke one British citizenship, it's either the Special Asylum Immigration Commission that will hear the case, or the normal immigration tribunal that we all know when we go to the immigration tribunal, either to fight a case for being refused spouse visa, being refused EU settlement scheme permit. So there are two special appeals that deal with these cases when there is element of fraud, or depending on the serious nature, whether there is terrorists or whatever involved. In the ground, the Secretary of State is relying on to revoke one's British passport or British citizenship. So looking at Clause 9, which I've just said, Clause 9, which is being introduced and being debated in Parliament, is seeking not to give notice on certain limited grounds. Limited grounds such as where giving that information will be prejudicial to the Secretary of State. And I've already said that the case of RD4, which is a very recent case, somebody born here in 1967, having traveled to Syria, joined the Islamic extreme sect, and having been identified as such, and the Secretary of State having revoked that person's citizenship without notice, and that decision having been challenged, it was established that the Secretary of State was wrong not to give that notice before revoking that person's British citizenship. So on that basis, Secretary of State is now seeking to bring in a new law, a new provision that will allow the Secretary of State to lawfully not to give notice under certain circumstances when British citizenship is being revoked. This is the Clause 9. So quite clearly, Clause 9 does not take away your right to appeal if for whatever reason it becomes law. And I want to clear this myths. People will still be entitled to their right to appeal, but under some limited circumstances, they will not be entitled to notification. So, and the Secretary of State is quite explicit in specifying those categories of people who will not be able to receive notice. For example, those who have probably traveled abroad to engage in terrorist activities. So straight away, it is not everybody that one will not receive that notice if, for example, there is concealment of fact or false representation. It is only those that by giving that notice will affect either the diplomatic relationship with the UK government or prejudicial to the Secretary of State. And those grounds are very limited in nature. And also to conclude that not giving that notice does not take away that person's right to appeal. So if it's revoked, whenever it becomes convenient for that person to receive that notice, that person will still be able to appeal that decision. So I want to entreat people not to panic, but all the same, it is also right that the current law in place is quite beneficial to people, because obviously when there is no notice, then there's a likelihood that people's citizenship or nationality could be revoked without valid reasons. And the Secretary of State, having been known to have made mistakes in most decisions, probably most people could be somehow be affected. So tonight, it's been a privilege taking my time to gradually explain these grounds and having explained the Clause 9 to viewers and listeners. And I'm sure that on Thursday, I'll be able to take my time to explain this in the Twi language to a lot of our viewers who want to also join us in order to obviously understand this in the Twi. I love the Twi because it gives me the opportunity to learn the Twi language. It gives me the opportunity to be able to interact with the wider public. And also it gives me the opportunity to be able to explain things in a very special way for people to understand. But 2 points being made here: no need for people to panic excessively. And obviously, this has not yet become a law. I'm sure I'll put a petition on our platform. There's a petition going around where people are petitioning that this bill should be abolished. So I'm sure those of you who are watching, you have opportunity to also put your signatures to this petition, which I will soon put on the platform. But having said all this, if for whatever reason anybody have any problem to do with either nullification or deprivation or revocation of British citizenship or passport, don't forget that Citilaw Solicitors, we are here to support you, to challenge you. At this juncture, I want to obviously advertise Citilaw Solicitors, who are the sponsors of this program. I always say that Citilaw Solicitors is one stop where all your legal matters can be resolved. I'm going to advertise Citilaw Solicitors because I'm coming to the end of the show. Now, Citilaw solicitors, as I've said, are the sponsors of this program, which I've given to you freely, free legal advice. We are located at Barking. If you are looking for Citilaw solicitors, our office address is 50 Cambridge Road, Barking Enterprise Center, Barking, IG11 8FJ. We are very close to the train station. We are not too far at all. It's literally 2 minutes walking distance from the train station. You can find Citilaw solicitors right in the Barking Enterprise Center building. Office contact number 020-3355-0782. I repeat, 020-3355-0782. And obviously, if you want to contact us, you can reach us on this number. What do we do, Citilaw solicitors? What are our areas of specialization? We specialize in immigration, nationality, and asylum law. Tonight, I came to your way with a British nationality law. We specialize immensely in all these areas under the immigration law. So if for whatever reason you have any immigration problem, don't hesitate to contact Citilaw solicitors. For those of you who have been here for 20 years and don't know where to start from, I want to entreat you that if you don't have the proof of address and all that, seek legal advice. If you come to Citilaw solicitors, there are various ways of providing some of this evidence. Last time when I come here to say facts, not fictions. And each time I speak, I back my points with law. I said that even if, for whatever reason, you have lived here for 20 years, you've worked with somebody's identity or whatever, it is immaterial. The upper tribunal has confirmed that having worked with somebody's identity does not mean that you cannot apply under the 20-year rule. So most of you who, for whatever reason, obviously, you have lived here, but probably you use someone's stuff to work. You are not excluded from making those applications, because we will back your case with a case law. Don't be afraid. Come forward. And secondly, these categories of applications that I'm going to mention here, they all fall under the fee waiver scheme. If you have lived here 20 years and you don't have money to pay for your application fee and IHS surcharge, which adds up to about 2,613, a lot of money before you pay the lawyer fee, Citilaw solicitors, we can assist you to apply for fee waiver. If that becomes successful, you pay nothing apart from the legal fee. So don't waste your time. If you've been here for 20 years, come forward. There is help for you. Those of you who are making this application under the parents' route, we just had a child as British child or whatever, the child have lived here for 7 years. These categories of people are equally entitled to what they call the fee waiver. Again, if you don't have the means, don't let that be a hurdle, an obstacle to you making successful application on the basis as a parent of either a British child or a child under 18 who have lived here for 7 years or more. And even if you are making an application under a 10-year route, partner route, you are still entitled to a fee waiver. Again, I'm entreating all of you who, for whatever reason, don't have the means, that there is this scheme available under the immigration rules. So that's about migration. Employment law. Last 2 weeks we explained what discrimination is. And I thank all of you who have been coming forward, bringing your cases. Obviously, knowledge is power. And even the Bible says that lack of knowledge, my people perish. A lot of us are perishing because we lack that knowledge. And that's why I always entreat you to share these videos, because obviously it will help someone somewhere. So if for whatever reason you have an employment law problem or dispute, discrimination, unlawful dismissal, unlawful deduction of wages, obviously if you are with your employer and you are suffering from bullying, harassment, victimization, there is protection under the law. So seek help. If you don't have any lawyer and you want us to help you, we are here to assist you with the employment law. Family law, if you're having problem having contact with your children, if for whatever reason you've suffered an abuse and you want to make application for occupation order or non-molestation order, or you are defending non-molestation order or occupation order, those of you who have had those correspondence, you are familiar with my terminologies. Or if for whatever reason you are going through divorce and you need a lawyer to help you with your matrimonial matters, Citilaw Solicitors, we are family law accredited. We are not just solicitors, we are family law accredited. So we will be able to assist you with all your family law matters. Personal injury and clinical negligence. If for whatever reason you had an accident that was not your fault, these cases are run on conditional fee basis. No win, no fee. If Citilaw cannot win your case for you, you don't pay them a penny. So if you ever had an accident that is not your fault, please note that you have 3 years to bring your claim. If you don't make your claim after 3 years, or within 3 years, it's most likely that that claim that would have guaranteed you quantum of money will be wasted. So personal injury, clinical negligence, you can come to us. Commercial disputes and civil litigation. Those of you who own companies, if you have debts, whatever it is that you think that you need a lawyer, those of you who have companies that you want to draft shareholder agreement, you want to draft directors agreement, you want to make sure that you have staff in place so that when the money starts coming, there will be no fight because you have put mechanism in place for sharing of your funds and all that. Come to Citilaw Solicitors, who will assist you to grow your business. Housing law, if there is housing disrepair, we run these cases again on no win, no fee basis. Don't live in that house which is full of dump that the landlord has failed to repair it. You are entitled to compensation. And for those of you who are seeking accommodation from the council, it's even a grounds for you to be accommodated by the local authority. Consumer law, obviously, last week we brought in a resource person from the financial ombudsman to assist us to obviously educate people on the consumer law. We look at the banking and people's right to claim for unaffordable lending and responsible lending. So tonight, it's been a pleasure interacting with you. On Thursday, I'm going to be here again, this time for the Tree version with MC Chaka. And obviously, I am very, very, very happy for those of you who managed to join us tonight. It's always a pleasure to have you on board. I have Chilotam Louisa Ogugbu. Forgive me if I'm not be able to pronounce this name correctly. We have Chilotam Louisa Ogbuagu, who is also watching. Thank you. This is the first time I've seen this name. It's been a pleasure having you on board tonight. Obviously, we are here on Tuesdays English. Across board, everybody can benefit. On Thursday, it's for my Ghanaian friends and family, brothers and sisters. Only three. And Estina said, good job. And Estina, thank you. I have Mabel Opon Mensa. Mabel is one of the new people that I've seen on this platform. Mabel, thank you for watching us tonight. It's been a pleasure having you on board. I have Nana Owusu, obviously. He said he invited Mabel. Nana, thank you. That's why you had our award Christmas, because you've been doing your job. All right. I have Kari. I have Alex Ajman. Mr. Alex Ajman, thank you for joining us tonight. Make sure you kindly share the link so that people can benefit from this program. We do this program every Tuesday and Thursdays. I have Ajua Aduchuma, my own sister. Obviously, thank you so much, Madam Aduchuma. I know you also invite people to join the program. I have Juliet Okra. Juliet Okra, thank you so much for joining this program tonight. I have Gabriel Bankori. Gabriel Bankori, again, thank you for joining us. Eric Nyanko, you just came from Brussels. I'm proud to say that being your legal representative in the past, I'm very, very happy that you are all over the place in Brussels and everywhere. And you are one of those people that always say, lawyer, I'm here. Thank you. So, thank you so much. Highly favored Priscilla, you're also watching. I have Ricky A. Boche. Ricky A. Boche watching. Ricky, you're one of those people that I have just seen tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. As I said, we do this program every Tuesday and Thursdays. Here, we teach the law. And it's free. Dora Fimpong, Auntie Dora, I want to say, but that was every time you also come and help us to run this show. I always say that without most of you, this program will be a waste of time. I know that most people watch after I've left the studio, and I also make sure that this program stays there, all the programs I've done. And also, most of you were watching this program on my personal profile. Now we have the City Media TV. So let your friends know that we have slightly switched the platform. I'm sure most of you are mixing out, because I've noticed that the viewing has gone down slightly, and most of the familiar faces are not here. So I'm urging all of you, the people you know, the common friends, share the link to them so that they can also benefit. Having said that, it's been a pleasure having your favorite solicitor, Mr. Thomas Bebel from Citilaw Solicitors. Thank you so much for having me tonight. I'm going to come your way again on Thursday with our favorite MC Chaka in the Chi language. And it's always a pleasure to have you on board. Thank you. God bless you. Thank you.